Dear students, today's topic is band theory of solids. This topic is from paper 6, unit 3, band theory of solids. In the previous unit, paper 6, we discussed classical free electron theory and how the free electron theory could explain certain facts observed in metals and how it fails to explain certain other facts. Today, let us discuss band theory of solids. What a solid is? Solid is one of the forms of the four fundamental states of matter. The four fundamental states are solid, liquid, gas, and the plasma state. Out of this, one among this is the solid. The molecules in the solid, which are very closely packed, and the molecules, they contain least amount of kinetic energy in solids. A solid is also characterized by its structural rigidity and resistance to the force applied on its surface. The atoms in the solid are bound to each other, either in a regular geometric lattice or irregularly. This is nothing but a solid. Solids are mainly classified as conductors, semiconductors, and insulators. In this, metals, which are the conductors, they exhibit some outstanding physical properties. The properties are, they obey Ohm's law. Metals obey Ohm's law. The metals got high electric and thermal conductivity. At low temperature, resistivity of a metal varies directly as fifth power of absolute temperature. And above the temperature called Debye temperature, this electrical conductivity rho is proportional to absolute temperature T. Metals also show superconductivity. Superconductivity means it is a phenomenon in which electrical resistance becomes zero at absolute zero. Electrical resistance of the metals, certain metals, not all, certain metals tends towards zero at absolute zero. This is called superconductivity. Certain metals, they exhibit superconductivity. The electrical conductivity of metals, it varies in the presence of magnetic field, and also it varies when the pressure is applied. So, electrical conductivity also varies with the magnetic field and the applied pressure. Metals also obey Wiedemann-Franz law. What is Wiedemann-Franz law? The ratio of thermal conductivity to electrical conductivity is directly proportional to absolute temperature. These are some properties of the metals, which are nothing but the conductors. And the classical free electron theory, it could explain the phenomena like Ohm's law. It could give the expression for the electrical conductivity and electrical resistivity. And this classical theory, but it failed to explain certain facts, that is, variation of conductivity with electron concentration. See, these things we already discussed. One failure is sigma proportional to n. As per theory, sigma proportional to n, n is number of free electrons per unit volume. But experimentally it is observed that trivalent elements or trivalent metals or divalent metals are found to be having lower conductivity compared to monovalent. Divalent, trivalent, their electron concentration is more, but their conductivity is found to be less than that of the monovalent. This is the failure of classical free electron theory. The classical free electron theory could not account for the conductivity, or it could not explain why certain solids are good conductors, why some are semiconductors, or why some are insulators. These factors could not explained by this classical theory. Classical theory also fails to explain the existence of positive Hall coefficient in certain metals. You have studied already what is Hall effect, what is Hall coefficient. Hall coefficient may be positive or negative. The classical free electron theory could not account for the positive Hall coefficients in certain metals. The theory also failed to explain the relation between conduction electrons of metals with the valence electrons. Valence electrons, usually they are considered as the free electrons, and they are considered as the conduction electrons, but the theory could not explain the relation between them, whether the valence electrons are exactly the conduction electrons or not. So later, one more theory, because of this failure, one more theory was developed. It is band theory of solids. In band theory of solids, the energy levels occupied by the electrons, as per classical free electron theory, the energy levels occupied by the electrons are the single levels, whereas in band theory, the splitting up of those levels into many levels. A single atomic energy level splits into many levels, many closely spaced levels known as the bands. This is about the band theory. A solid which contains large number of atoms which are closely packed together. And so if we consider an isolated atom, then it has got discrete sets of electron energy levels. In an isolated atom, there are discrete set, and the distribution of the electrons in different levels, different orbits is given by 1s, 2s, 2p, 3s, and so on. 3s, 3p, 3d, and so on. 1, 2, 3, etc. are the principal quantum numbers. S, P, D represent the sub-levels having quantum number L, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. These things we discussed in atomic spectra. So, the distribution of, in an isolated atom, the electron is distributed in the energy levels 1s, 2s, 2p, and so on. And the distribution obeys certain conditions. You know what are the conditions? The conditions are the electron should follow Pauli's exclusion principle. The filling of electrons takes place. In what way it takes place? The lowest energy level is filled first, then the next level, and so on. These are the conditions applied in filling up the different energy levels of the atom. The electronic energy levels are filled in this manner. Suppose many atoms are brought together, say. See, the previous one what we discussed is in case of an isolated atom, single energy level. Suppose so many such atoms are brought closer and closer to form the solid. In the solid, the atoms are very closely packed. Now, what happens? The valence electrons of adjacent atoms, they interact. There will be interaction between the valence electrons of the adjacent atoms. So that the valence electrons of all atoms, they form or they constitute a single system, which is common to the entire crystal. Suppose there are n number of atoms, then n electrons, suppose each atom has got one valence electron, then n electrons, they need n levels to occupy. Suppose there are n electrons, they need n levels to occupy, n energy levels. So that now, how this happens? How these electrons get n energy levels to occupy? No two electrons can occupy the same level, is it not? As per Pauli's exclusion principle. If they need n energy levels, then what happens there? Because of the electric force existing between the electron and the nucleus of an atom, and also electron and the nuclei of the other atoms, surrounding atoms. Solid, so many atoms together, closely packed. So, the electrons of the atoms, they experience the electric force due to their own nucleus and also the surrounding nuclei. As a result of these forces, each atomic energy level splits into large number of closely spaced energy levels. So that energy level, one single level splits into many energy levels which are closely packed, and this is called as a band. A set of such closely spaced energy levels is called the energy band. This is how band theory explains the formation of bands. What a band is? It is the set of closely spaced energy levels. This is the energy band. Say for example, in case of sodium, we have only one valence electron. The distribution, electronic configuration is this: 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, and 3s1. So how many valence electrons? Only one valence electron. So here, see now this diagram illustrates the formation of energy bands. Suppose there are two sodium atoms, only two atoms. When they are closely when they're very close together, what happens? The single 3s level splits into two. Because of interaction between the valence electrons of these two atoms, this level splits into two. Whereas in case of 4 atoms, splits into 4. Suppose there are n atoms, it splits into n levels. This is how bands are formed. See, this diagram explains the energy levels and energy bands in case of isolated sodium and solid sodium. Only one sodium atom, the levels are single levels, 1s2, 2s2, 2p6, 3s1. This is the level in which the last electron is filled, or last electron occupies this level, which is the valence electron. Whereas, if large number of sodium atoms are brought together, solid sodium, say this is what happens. Every level splits and there is a band, splitting off of this one to form a band. Then 2s2 splits into band and so on. And see here, you can make out the difference. The width of the bands are not same. The different bands are having different widths. As you move above, means as you move outside, higher levels are found to be more wider. Higher energy bands are more wider compared to the inner energy level bands. And here, in case of a solid sodium, see, this is the level in which the last, means the valence electron occupies this level. So this band is called as the valence band. This band is called valence band, which is half filled. Only one electron in one atom, so many such atoms, so this is the half filled one. Above this band, there is another band which is completely empty. Above this band, there is a band which is completely empty, and in between these two bands, there is a gap, and this gap is called as forbidden energy gap. Forbidden gap or energy gap, denoted as EG. What is forbidden gap or energy gap? It is the gap or space between the half-filled level and the empty level. This half-filled level or this band is called the valence band. The empty band is called the conduction band. So forbidden gap or energy gap, nothing but the gap or space between the valence band and the conduction band. And this is about the formation of energy bands in case of the sodium solid. Now, how do we define the valence band? The valence band, see here, this is the band diagram, lowest, the valence band, then the conduction band. Gap is called the forbidden gap. What's the valence band? The valence band which is formed from the atomic energy levels containing valence electrons. The band formed from the atomic energy levels containing valence electrons is called the valence band. And here, the electrons in the valence band, they have the highest energy. Also, this band is the highest occupied band. Valence band, the highest occupied band. The band above the valence band is called the conduction band. It is the next higher permitted energy. The next higher permitted energy is above this valence band, nothing but the conduction band. So, this conduction band can also be stated as the lowest unfilled energy band. Conduction band usually empty. So, this is the lowest unfilled energy band. And in the conduction band, the electrons are free to move. So that the conduction is mainly generally due to the electrons when they come to this conduction band, when they excite to the conduction band. So the energy gap is gap between the valence band and conduction band. It is called the energy gap. Now the solids are classified in band theory. The solids are classified as insulators, semiconductors and conductors. These are the classification. So here, let us discuss the properties of insulators, or let us see what are insulators. See, these two diagrams represent the energy band diagram of insulator at absolute zero and at a temperature greater than 0 Kelvin. Energy band diagram of the insulator at T equal to 0 Kelvin and at T greater than 0 Kelvin. See here, in the insulator, see here, at T equal to 0 Kelvin, consider the energy band of the insulator at T equal to 0 Kelvin. What do you observe here is, These are the filled levels. These two levels are completely filled. This is the lower one. This is the valence band. The valence band is completely filled, and this is the conduction band, which is completely empty. So this is VB. This one is CB, completely empty. And one more thing you can see, note down here is, the gap between the conduction band and the valence band is very large. This energy gap is very large, or the forbidden gap is very large. Such a metal, such a solid is called an insulator. Such a solid is called the insulator. At T greater than 0 Kelvin, suppose temperature is increased above 0 Kelvin by adding thermal energy. Suppose this insulator is added with the thermal energy, temperature is more than 0 Kelvin. In that case, what happens is here, say again, since the gap, energy gap is very large here, electrons cannot move from this valence band to the conduction band. So that no electrons are found in the conduction band. Therefore, the electrical conductivity of the insulator is nil, or it is a very bad conductor of electricity. That's why such solids are called the insulators. They do not conduct electricity. Why? Because the electrons from the valence band, they cannot drift or cannot move to the conduction band. They cannot cross this energy gap. This is about the insulator. Example is diamond. The energy gap of the order of 5.4 eV. Insulators are the solids having energy gap of the order of 6 eV are insulators. Now semiconductor. See again the band diagram here. Just note down. One more thing here is, this is about the Fermi energy. What is Fermi energy? The highest filled energy level at absolute zero. Fermi energy. In case of insulator, this Fermi energy lies exactly between midway of this energy gap. It lies in the middle of the energy gap. And now about semiconductors, the band diagram. Here, what difference you can make out? See, in a semiconductor, this energy gap is less. The valence band is completely filled. Conduction band is completely empty at absolute zero. See, at absolute zero, conduction band is empty, completely empty at absolute zero. The gap between these two is less. Still, at absolute zero, since the conduction band is completely empty, no electrons are found there. So, electrical conductivity of the semiconductor is zero. At absolute zero, electrical conductivity of the semiconductor is zero. So, semiconductor behaves like an insulator at absolute zero. Here also, Fermi level lies midway, exactly in the middle of this energy gap. But as the temperature is increased or above 0 Kelvin, some electrons, very few electrons in the valence band, they gain kinetic energy. So that they cross the energy gap to enter the conduction band. When the temperature is above 0 Kelvin, some of the electrons or a few electrons in the valence band gain kinetic energy, then they cross the narrow energy gap, they enter CB. So that those electrons are now, we find them in the conduction band, and these electrons which are moved to the conduction band are now available for electrical conductivity. So that the semiconductor has got little bit a slight electrical conduction. That's why it's called a semiconductor. Example, germanium. Germanium is a semiconductor. Silicon is also a pure semiconductor. Energy gaps are 0.7 EV and 1 EV. This is 0.67 or 0.7. The exact value is 0.67 EV approximately, or approximated as 0.7, and silicon energy gap is 1 eV. So at a temperature more than 0 Kelvin, the semiconductors, their electrical conductivity increases slightly. At absolute zero, semiconductors, they behave like insulators. The third one is conductors. Conductors are the metals. Metals are the good conductors of electricity. Example, silver, copper. These are all the good conductors of electricity. See here, in conductors, at absolute zero, T 0 Kelvin, usually in conductors, the valence band is partially filled. The valence band is partially filled and the energy gap is nil. The gap between the valence band and the conduction band is nil. So here, this is not the energy gap, but this is a valence band which is partially filled. Some levels are found to be unfilled. These levels are found to be unfilled, and this is the conduction band. So no gap between the valence band and the conduction band. So at absolute zero, there are vacant levels in the valence band. Suppose an external electric field is applied, or some kinetic energy is given, or some this additional energy in the form of kinetic energy giving thermal energy. By providing thermal energy or by providing external electric field, then what happens is the electrons in the valence band, they acquire kinetic additional energy. They acquire additional energy and they move to the unfilled bands in the valence band itself. They move to the unfilled bands in the valence band itself. So that now so that they move to the conduction band itself. There is no energy gap, means they move to the conduction band, and these electrons they constitute. And since they got kinetic energy, they move due to their kinetic energy, and these moving electrons they constitute the electric current. Thus, a solid, that is a metal, or it's always a good conductor of electricity. The solids, nothing but the metals, are the good conductors of electricity, like copper, silver, etc. with energy gap 0. And here the Fermi energy level at T equal to 0 Kelvin, Fermi energy corresponding to this field level, the highest field level. This is the Fermi energy. And at T greater than 0 Kelvin, what happens? The Fermi energy shifts to the conduction, because some of the electrons, they move. They occupy the higher energy levels in the valence band, then they move to the conduction band, so that this Fermi energy is now in the conduction band. This is what happens in case of conductor. And this is about the classification of solids as conductors, semiconductors and insulators. And with this I stop here. In the next class, let us discuss the semiconductors, the types of semiconductors and their properties.